Hello and welcome to Television Business International's Fireside Chat. I'm delighted today to be joined by Applause Entertainment CEO Samir Nair. Hi Samir, how are you?
Hi, Richard. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure, lovely to have you. Um, let's cut to the chase. We've only got 20 minutes or so. We've got lots to get through, lots to talk to you yourself about Applause and the Indian market and the international market as well. The Indian market's been growing rapidly over the past few years. We've got global streamers such as Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, Hotstar, all joining an existing ecosystem that was already fiercely competitive. Fascinating time for the country and a fascinating time for Applause as well. Tell us a little bit about what you do in terms of Applause and also how your business models work. You've got an interesting sort of hub and spoke approach. Tell us a little bit about the business and how it fits into everything going on in India and on the global stage.
Well, actually, India is in a really exciting stage at this point in time. Like we've had linear television, satellite television for the last 20 years, and it's sort of evolved in a particular way. Now it's reached about 200 million households. So that's like about a billion people in that sense that can have access to television. But what interestingly happened in India is that the way entertainment television evolved is that we never really had our HBO and Showtime moment. So on primetime television, what India does is program daily soap operas, and we've been doing that for the last 20 years. So we do a very high quality of reality television. We've done Millionaire, we've done Idol, we've done Dancing with Stars, all of those. But in the fiction space, in the drama space, what we essentially do in primetime is daily soap operas, what you would in the West call your the afternoon soaps, the daytime soap operas.
Yeah.
So we never really had our HBO moment. We never made Sopranos. We never made The Wire. We never did House of Cards. We never did all of those things. Now, when the streamers arrived in India about 3-4 years ago, and with this whole telecom boom that's happened, and the 4G boom, is we've suddenly had the explosion of telecom connectivity, of data connectivity. So now we have all of a sudden about a billion telephone connections in India, and there are about 500 million 4G users, and India offers the cheapest data in the world. So you're suddenly talking about a new audience that is no longer now linked to your television set, but linked to your mobile screen set, which is now going back to the TV set in a way, right? And this audience is now being catered to by the streamers who have arrived. So streaming is totally different from linear television. Linear television is all about tonight at 9, and if you miss it today, you don't get to see it tomorrow and all of that. The streaming business is anytime, anywhere, resume watching. You may also like, all of that kind of thing. And it's amazing libraries. So I think the exciting thing that's happening to India is that a giant Indian audience is becoming aware of the streaming business. There are a whole bunch of international streamers and Indian streamers, and we are putting out all this content to them. What Applause is doing in this is we set up 3 years ago, and we set up to essentially create content for this new Indian, right? For this Indian who wants to watch content which is not the daytime soap opera, which is to watch high quality premium drama series across genres, across crime and thriller and romance and comedy and family and biopic and what have you. So I think that's the opportunity. In the last 3 years, we've produced and released 18 such series across multiple platforms. So we've put it on Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus Hotstar, on Sony Live, on MX Player. So a variety of this thing. And it's really exciting because, our model is that we really back content creation, we back, creativity, we put money behind it, and we go ahead and invest in the production of the content. We make full series, and then we license it to platforms. So in a sense, I mean, when people often ask us, what can, whether we regard ourselves as, who are we in this business? We regard ourselves as a complement, right? We have no competitors because I think the market is too nascent to be competing at this stage. So we are not competing with anyone. We are just trying to help the ecosystem grow by investing money and by creating shows. And so we've done a lot. We've done, international adaptations. We've done book adaptations. We've done original writing. So it's exciting times.
It's fascinating, and obviously, as you touch on there, that huge audience, that huge potential audience that you're looking to sort of tap into. I think we've got a reel from you guys, just so we can take a look and see the types of shows that you've been working on and the quality that you're producing. So perhaps we can take a look at that Sizzle reel now, and then we can dive into some of the shows that we see.
Sure.
अगर लाइफ के एक्सपीरियंसेस नहीं लेंगे तो फिल्म मेकर कैसे बनेंगे? लाइट, कैमरा, एक्शन।
नाच गाना क्यों बंद हो गया? और डीजे वाले बाबू, ओ भाई गाना चला दे वेंचोत।
हेलो, कौन? नहीं, नॉट इंटरेस्टेड, बाय।
कौन है?
तुम्हारी मॉम।
पकड़ना नहीं है उनको, मारना है।
कैसे भेज दूं अपने बेटे को पुलिस के हवाले?
आपको ये लड़का मर्डरर लगता है?
गट इंस्टिंक्ट।
मुझे तुमसे डर नहीं लगता, तो fuck you!
थोड़ा मुस्कुराइए ना। अरे क्या हुआ? कोई मर गया क्या?
हराम जादे सारा दिन वो डेस्पा कटिटो करे।
नमस्ते मैडम।
पहले बोलो आओ।
Someone is stalking me.
Appear weak when you're strong and strong when you're weak. Art of war.
कौन कहता है यहाँ सच की जीत होती है? यहाँ वही जीतता है जिसके हाथ में बंदूक होती है। This is an act of war. दोस्तों को छोड़ने का नहीं और दुश्मन को छोड़ने का नहीं।
देखो मैं सिगरेट नहीं पीता, पर जेब में लाइटर जरूर रखता हूँ, धमाका करने के लिए।
सबके लबों पर, सबकी जुबान पर बस एक ही नाम। Cut it.
Yeah, there's some fantastic shows there. So let's dive into perhaps how some of them came about. You've been working quite extensively for some time with companies such as BBC Studios, TF1 in France, to create Indian versions of Criminal Justice and Luther, for example. How have those shows worked? And are you looking for more partnerships like that?
Actually, when we set out to gain speed to the market, we wanted to follow a three-pronged strategy. So one was adapting international formats. The other one was adapting book published source material. And the third was original writing. In the case of international formats, I have always been a big sort of fan of, finding material that finds universal resonance. So if there is a story, not everything can be adapted, but when you do find something that can be adapted, we sort of take it and try and make it our own. So we did Criminal Justice, for example. We took the HBO version the night of, and then we took that and we sort of truly made an Indian story out of it. We set it in a Bombay sort of Bombay setting. We had a cast of characters around it, and it did really well. We are in fact currently in the process of completing season 2 of Criminal Justice, which will release on Disney Plus Hotstar in December. So, that's the next story, and we've taken it forward. We've taken the lawyer character forward, which is not something that the original did. Similarly, we did Israeli show Hostages, for which we did 2 seasons. We did an Israeli show called Your Honor. We are going to soon be adapting Luther. We're also going to be doing Fauda. So, I think it's really cool. We also did The Office, Ricky Gervais's Office.
Yeah.
We did the American version, which is the Steve Carell version of it. And we did 2 seasons of that, which came on Hotstar. So I think there's a huge potential in finding interesting, relevant material and sort of adapting it to a local context. And and then you sort of build on that. So we are looking to do more of that, definitely.
And that's obviously sort of, you guys working with the big international players to bring ideas and IP into India and then making it for the Indian audience. The other side, I guess, of what you're doing, what Applause is doing is sort of really building on the originals side of the business. I mean, we've seen sort of Sacred Games has opened up quite a few doors. It seems, on Netflix has opened up doors to the interest in Indian content, and Netflix and as you said, the other streamers, they're really sort of they're making it very easy for viewers around the world to watch shows from all over the world. What does that mean for Applause? And again, I guess for the international market, how can Applause sort of work with those international companies to get some of those Indian ideas out to market?
So again, I think this streamers, the global streamers, are really, they're God's gift to this entire business, because so far, we've all been restricted by our geographical boundaries and by our languages. So it's like Indian content, Hindi content in India and for Indians abroad. But the minute the streamers came and all of us got exposed to this, I think a lot of India has seen Narcos. A lot of India is currently watching Money Heist. Right now, these are two typical shows that are not even being made for us, but we are consuming it and watching it. And I think now with the streamers, the reverse is also possible. So like how you say Sacred Games had a lot of interest globally. Recently, a show of Netflix, Delhi Crime, won the International Emmy. There will be audiences all over the world who will see that show. And even though they don't understand the Hindi, they will read the English subtitles and they'll get the drift. And that's the beauty of storytelling, that a lot of these stories, that they could be intensely local in their story, but the storytelling and the emotion is universal, right? And you sort of resonate and you say, like similar what happened with Parasite. Parasite is in a sense an intensely local story. It's very about people living there, but it's something that appeals to all of us because you see yourself in it. And I think that's what's going to happen. The streamers have really opened up that opportunity. And for us as Applause, there are many other original shows we are creating. Like we did recently a show on Netflix called Hasmukh, which is about a really bad stand-up comedian who is not really keen on becoming a big stand-up comedian, but he can't because he's really bad and he can't perform. He writes well, but he can't perform to save his life. And the way the show plays out is that he kills his boss, actually. He kills his mentor and then takes his place and goes on stage and then proceeds to give a dazzling performance. So what he discovers is that if he kills off stage, he can kill on it, and it sort of builds up from there. And it's an absurd, it's like we call it a dark drama in a comedic universe because it's not a dark comedy, and it's really funny. And this is the kind of show that could technically be made anywhere because it's got that same universal appeal. And it can, you have stand-up comedy as a genre all over the world. So there are many other ideas that are coming out in India as well, which the world will see, and which also gives opportunities to, adapt and create in other markets. Apart from that, we are sort of like we are working with Gurinder Chadha and Sundar Aaron on a show called Seeker, which is essentially the story of an Indian godman, and sort of building that out, as in taking the Indian godman theory and then seeing how modern day life and philosophy collide with science, and what do you get out of that? And this married into a succession sort of tale, as in there is politics and there's drama and there's all of that within a philosophical world. So currently it's being written. We've got a writer's room, which is Bombay, London, New York, LA, different people, different minds collaborating and putting it together. So I think more such opportunities will arise, for us to tell truly global stories.
Fascinating stuff. And in terms of sort of what Applause can offer, I mean, obviously you touched on before sort of co-financing, you can put money in, and obviously you've got deep ties with the Indian creative business as well. So you've got all of that access to talent. Talk to us a little bit about sort of how, the models that you can potentially work with. I mean, co-productions, presumably, are they of interest as well as co-financing? What kind of elements are you open to?
Definitely. I mean, co-production, co-financing, co-development. So like we are trying to have conversations with, production companies and creators in different countries and saying that if you have an idea that we can sort of partner with you and help you develop it and build it up, then, we can do two versions. We can do the Indian version, we can do your country version, we can do a global version. And we are happy to participate in that in a co-financing model. So, I mean, we are looking for partners of that kind because I think the sense has to be now. And one thing the pandemic has taught us is that by being locked down and being stuck in our own country, we've all taken to technology really well, right? Which is allowing us to have this conversation and which is allowing us to have so many conversations which otherwise would have always been connected to get on a flight and get to a place and then meet the person because, without that, how can you get business done? So I think we've learned to do that, and I think these opportunities will arise now. So we are actively looking, like we are looking to do co-financed and co-productions in documentaries, in animation, in drama series. So I mean, like for example, just an idea, and it's not something we are doing, but it's an idea we'd like to do, is that suppose there is a new idea in the Nordic noir space that is getting developed. We'd be happy to be part of the development and the financing of the original to get also the global rights to remake it. So we'd be open to that kind of thing. And I think, it is incumbent on all of us to try and attract capital to content creation. Capital is always drawn to platform. Capital is always drawn to a B2C. But I think we should try and get capital towards content creation, towards that risk appetite,
Absolutely. Just talking of capital, you've got a really interesting show that I wanted to talk about, Scam 1992, which looks fantastic, fascinating story. Perhaps you can talk to us just briefly about that and the platform that's ordered it and how it came about, and perhaps also how it explains what Applause is doing in terms of the ambition of the series.
Well, Scam 1992 is based on a book. So we bought the rights of the book. This is a book called The Scam, written by Sucheta Dalal and Debashish Basu. They are really senior finance journalists. I've been wanting to do this story from a long time. It's a story of Harshad Mehta. It's a guy who's like equivalent of our Ponzi. He is a big scamster of his time. In the early 90s, he almost brought the Indian stock market down and, almost shut a couple of banks. It's that story. It's a really colorful character. So what we did is we bought the book. We hired a noteworthy Hindi film director. We put the entire package together, got into the writing, got into the casting. We cast a brand new cast. We took a Gujarati actor because the character was Gujarati. So we took a Gujarati actor, and that was a bit of a leap of faith to do that. And we put a really interesting cast around it. And we also named names. So we took names. So we named State Bank and we named Citibank. We do those kind of things in the show. And it's a pretty interesting tale because it is a cautionary tale. It is telling you that greed is not good, and if you break the law, you will go to jail and you'll probably die. But on the other hand, the way the tale gets told is that it's a tale filled with swag and hope and ambition and that kind. And we gave it to Sony Live, which is a relatively new platform. And the show has really caught fire. I mean, it's caught the imagination of all. India loves it, and Indians love this kind of an anti-hero tale where the hero is a bit grey and sort of dodgy, but kind of thing. And it's done really well. And it's in a way it's rediscovered Harshad Mehta for a new audience because this story is from 1991, so that's like almost 30 years ago. And on the other hand, it's a tale where everyone is aware about the stock market and finance. So we sort of also simplified it. So it's not a complicated tale. It's a very simple tale. This is a guy, he came, he stole money and he played the stock markets. He made a lot of money. It all went bust. As simple as that. And it's done really well. It's done well for the platform. It's done well for us. And it further, reaffirms our fact that if we back strong stories and good ideas and we put our money behind it, if we put our effort behind it, it would have good results.
And it's for Sony Live, which is, I mean, as we sort of touched on before, you've got the Netflixes and the Amazons and the Disney Hotstar, those are on one level, but then
actually there's a pretty interesting market now. So you've got Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, Hotstar. So they are the three what we call foreign majors. Then you've got Sony Live, Z5, and Voot, which are the three Indian broadcasters in that sense. So Voot is the Viacom 18, Sony Live is of course Sony, and Z5 is Z. Then you've got independents like Eros and Alt Balaji. And then, of course, now we are all waiting for HBO Max and Peacock and, Hulu and Apple and, I don't know. So I think this market's going to get really interesting. And see, in a funny way, India is the market for the future because, in many ways, the West is sort of maxed out. So I think how many ever customers and subscribers you had to get in the West, you've got. Okay? Now it will be an incremental growth. So the next 100 million customers are going to come from Asia. And if China is blocked, then it's India, right? And India actually is more than 100 million customers. India, you could get to 200 million customers, right? So 200 million customers paying you, say, on average, $10 a month combined for everyone is still a lot of money, It's like $2 billion a month.
It wouldn't be bad. No, I mean it's certainly something we've been hearing from Netflix, sort of that, and everyone else, that focus, away from especially the US, where that market is very saturated, to some of the new emerging markets. Just we've only got a couple of minutes left, but in terms of sort of how Applause is sort of looking to expand. Tell us about a couple of the other shows that you've got on your slate, because I know we were talking earlier. You've got some fascinating series that are sort of in development, partnerships in Israel in the works as well. Tell us a little bit about some of the shows and projects that you're looking for partners with.
I'll tell you really quickly, we are currently in the process of completing our season 2s. So we're doing like a season 2 of a book that we developed called Hello Mini, which is for MX Player. We are doing a season 2 for Criminal Justice. We're doing a season 2 for City of Dreams. So these are some of the shows we're doing. We're going to do a season 2 for Scam. We're going to do a season 2 for the other shows that we've done. Among the new ones coming up, the TF1 show is a show called Call My Agent. I don't know whether you've seen it. So we've taken that and we are adapting it to Bollywood. So it's set in a talent agency in Bollywood, and it's got it's got the agents, and then it's got a whole bunch of cameo characters who are real life actors from the film industry. We are going to soon be starting to film Fauda in Kashmir. So we're taking Fauda and setting it in Kashmir. We're going to be filming Luther in Bombay. We're also developing a spaghetti western, as we call it. So India has had a few bandit movies, like Shekhar Kapoor's Bandit Queen, but they are the most serious, darker, grungier ones. We are doing a fictionalized version of the same period. Really, like think of it as our McKenna's Gold. So it's set in the 60s of India, in the hinterland, with all the badlands and the bad guys. And we call it Donali. Donali means a double-barreled gun, so 2 barrels. So that's one in development. There's another show that we are developing with Sudhir Mishra, which is called The Nawab, The Notch Girl, and the East India Drug Company. It's a tale set in the 1830s and 40s, and it sort of plays out between the East India Company, the royalty in India at that time, and the clash going on, the growth of opium in India, and its smuggling to China. It's in that space. Sudhir Mishra has written a really nice fictional tale. So it's not historical at all. It's just a delightful fictional tale. It's fully written. So we're developing that. We're doing Seeker. So yeah, I mean, there's some exciting stuff happening.
Plenty of stuff on the slate. And what's if we, people watching, what's the best way to get in contact with yourself and with Applause? If they might have a partnership that they're looking for someone to join with, what's the best way to contact you?
Email is the best. You have my number as well, but I think email is the best because we are actively looking to forge partnerships. We are looking to do that. We are looking to invest in content, and we want to work with people. I think it's an opportunity now to work with a lot of interesting international partners. Not the usual suspects, but all types of people. And we are happy to do that. We are happy to bring our share to the table and to really back good ideas and build on those. We want to do that.
Excellent. Well, that's lovely. I think we're just about out of time, Samir, but it's been fascinating hearing about Applause's work and about all of the exciting things going on in the Indian market. Very much looking forward to catching up with Scam 1992, especially. It looks like a fascinating show.
You'll like it.
And yeah, as I say, thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing you soon and seeing your shows on screen, no doubt, as well, around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir.